everybody, and welcome to This Week in X, presented by Crushing Comics. I am your moderator, Crisis with a K, and I'm here with three of my friends, fellow fans, and mutant lovers from around the world, Fariha, Harry, and Tyler. And we are here to talk about Excalibur number 18, which was out on the release week of the 10th of February, 2021. Here's your customary warning. This is a full spoilers program. We're going to be talking about everything that's happened in the series up to this point. We're going to be talking about the history of these characters. We might mention other X books. It's just a spoiler palooza. So please just know that, and know that that's what you're getting into when you're getting into it with us. For Excalibur 18, let's begin as we always do with our lightning round reactions, beginning with Tyler.
I like this issue, but not as much as last issue. We also spent an entire issue wondering about something that we kind of already know, so it was a little bit anticlimactic. The art, as usual, is clean and great, in my opinion. I give it a 3 dungeons out of 5.
Harry.
Okay, so this book is boring, and I think we all on some level know that. I don't think we want to admit it in some ways, because there are moments. There are moments where I enjoy this book and I'm engaged, but like as a whole, there's just not a lot of narrative thrust or something to keep me involved. And what I just felt after finishing this issue, especially after last issue, is that I just think this is, if you're going to read this should be read in trade, because issue to issue, it just feels kind of shapeless and hard to latch onto sometimes. And I don't fully remember things, and I don't, maybe my mind's going away and I have early dementia, maybe, but like, I think also it's just like the series needs like something more. And I don't, it's kind of hard to quantify what that is, but yeah, I'd give this 2.5 creepy baby elves out of 5. She has pointy ears.
So the thing is, Harry is absolutely right. If you were reading it in thread, this would be issue 3 of 5 or 6, right? So absolutely in the middle ground. And this issue is the middle ground. And for a middle ground, it's a perfectly good 3.5 thrown away empty wine glass out of 5. So that's what I would say.
I got to come down a little bit harder than some of you are coming down. I really am increasingly feeling like this is a comic with nothing to say. We've already agreed that the cast kind of feels weird and incongruous, even in an issue where we have characters who have an inherent conflict or drama or between them. It feels like they're all saying the same lines they've been saying for 18 issues. Rogue's like, she's my friend. Like, we've heard it, Rogue. And so I love how Tini Howard voices characters in every other series, but it feels like we're just playing for time. And I don't think it's good enough to say, well, if it was in trade, we might like roll our eyes and support it. Like, no, every issue has to be good on its own. We can't say that this issue is allowed to be boring because the middle chapter should be boring. There are another 50, 60 comic books out there today where every issue is good. So we can just call this comic book bad. On top of that, the art here, Toe has reached, I think, the end of his range on this book. And I really like Marcus Toe, but everything just looks the same all the time. The expressions are the same. The dynamics are the same. There's things here where people maybe are more upset or less upset if they've been, and their faces look the same. Like, I just feel like we're on a plateau with this book. I love this cast. I love these creators, but I don't know if it's just a me thing. I see a lot of people on social media who are really enjoying it. So I know it's not just like objectively terrible, but I just think this book is out of reasons to live. And Tini Howard's been announced as of us recording this at this moment to be writing the new X-Core books. So maybe Excalibur's almost done. Maybe it's almost over. Who knows? But I am not going to say anything positive in this recording. Leave your downvotes now.
You're letting us know now. We're getting ready.
Let's get Alan Davis back to write Excalibur.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in this book, and I read it like a day ago.
Well, I can tell you the B
Go ahead, Tyler. Lead us off. Take it away.
The B plot of this issue is really about how Excalibur cannot keep a secret.
But isn't that good? That's true for every X-Men book, though, or every mutant, though. They cannot keep a secret. They cannot keep their shit in their pants, and it just, not
but
literal
you
shit.
don't really want to keep your shit in your pants.
Like...
No, I'm not talking about literal shit. I'm talking about their, reproductive organs or
I know.
like, whatever.
I know
They
what
can't
you
keep their
mean.
pet. But the thing is like, to me, so here's the thing. I'm only giving it like, a benefit of doubt because maybe it'll be awesome by the time in the end. But the thing is like, what I was really a little bit upset about, I mean, it's like, okay, first we went to Otherworld to look for Betsy, but then Betsy just came back to us.
Yeah.
Now this is not the Betsy. And then there was like a whole time. It's like, who is this Betsy? Well, then it turned out it was probably the one that Jamie, not Jamie, the other, Jamie,
Yeah,
Jamie,
Jamie,
the
yeah.
one that Jamie got from Sinister, and that's the one running around. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well,
But here's my thing. Like, so that whole trip to Otherworld to like do the whatever, we already were asking last issue, was there any points to that? The answer remains no. Last issue, we opened up on like the shock of Betsy just falling into the water, but here we're past that. And it just feels like everything interesting happens off screen. And then when we look back at prior issues, it's like, that issue didn't matter, that issue didn't matter, that issue didn't matter. Like, I'm just tired of issues that I don't actually need to read.
And the
But
main
that's what
like part of
Excalibur
this
has been.
It is. Excalibur is the book you don't need
Jesus.
to read. That's true.
The main a big part of this issue is that like 2 or 3 different people are just like, you didn't tell us Betsy's back, and they're like, she's sad, and just cuts to her looking sad, like sitting, and that happens like on repeat like 3 times. I'm like, I guess she is. I don't know. I thought maybe like it was Betsy and they're trying to trick us like to, because it seems so obvious it was like an imposter, but no, I guess it's just an imposter.
no, I mean it my assumption is that this is Queen Elizabeth III Betsy, and she got really bounced into that clone that Sinister created because Monarch exchanged back the musky cape in exchange for a body. And then magically she appears, she fell into the water. I don't know, but I think that might be happening.
Why she's evil then?
She's as much as I believe the Queen was crafty. Do you think she's this Machiavellian?
That's what I'm saying. Like, as much as I think that might be happening, the issue did not tell us anything even close to that.
Okay.
So the issue is basically playing. I think like I said, the B plot is really Excalibur cannot keep a secret. The A plot is really going through the whole motion of, is this Betsy or is this not Betsy? Oh, Rachel says, I'm not going to probe too deeply. And then Emma tried to probe a little bit and got repelled by this Betsy. Is basically Betsy told her not to do anything, not to do it. And then she was running away from Maggie and Brian because they don't need telepathy to know that this is not Betsy. And then the sinister part starts showing up because she was eavesdropping on Brian and Rogue. And then finally Quanon has to come in and confirm that this is not our Betsy. It took a long time to get there. And I agree with all of you that along the way, not everything is interesting. And that's probably why I think you guys feel so about this. So yeah, I mean, I'm not giving it an excuse, but I thought that was the whole issue of this issue.
But can I just talk about starting with the Saturdine though? Is like she's still sulking about.
She's still pining for Brian.
And I can't believe that.
Oh, please!
She's sitting there in the exact same pose, except that there are 3 wine glasses on the floor compared to the end of Destruction.
End of X of Sword. But the thing is, I really liked her response though, because she really got them on technicality. It's like, if you want to talk to me, come through your Captain Britain. Oh, guess what? You don't have a Captain Britain, suckers. I really like that.
That was the one moment that I enjoyed. That like she's like, oh, the mutants want to talk to me, really? And so she like dashes off this note back to them, which I was happy, even though she asked for her pen, that it wasn't handwritten, because I do have a policy that I don't read cursive writing in comic books, but luckily it was just in print. And she basically just catches them in technicality. It's hilarious. She's like, yeah, every world can meet with me. It's part of the responsibility of being a world. She like lays out all of these things. And then at the end of the letter, it's like, but since you haven't figured out your Captain Britain situation, screw you. And I actually thought, but let's like think this through. The X-Men were not the ones who were so hot to have this gate be open. Apocalypse was the one who was so hot to have this gate be open. Apocalypse Now is on the other side of the gate. And the X-Men are like, the idea of this gate even existing is pure liability. Like it's an invitation for anybody who finds out about the resurrection process to try to shove us through the gate and kill us, because it poses no risk to them on Earth. Like they already won that sword combat tournament. But they still want it shut down because it's like having a sinkhole in the middle of the street on my block and me being like, the children are going to fall into the sinkhole on the way to school. Like that's their position on the gate. And Saturnine, who at first was like not really into this whole mutant anything, although they did help put her back on her throne by getting rid of Morgan Le Fay, let's be fair. Saturnine is like, no, the gate can just stay open, screw you. And I just think that was hilarious. That was my one reaction to the entire comic, was like, I thought that was funny.
And I'm going to use it on my email signature now. Consider the message, consider the time, consider many things before you bother Fariha. I'm going to start using that in my email now. Because I get so many emails. I get so many emails from people. Like I'm like, this is not my problem. Go figure it out somewhere. So I'm going to use that from now on.
Quick question. Emma's hairdo, yeah, nay?
Boot.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah. No, that's
I have a year. It's a
yeah.
year to me too. So
yeah, it's 100% yeah, because girlfriend got a I'm in business now look, you know. So it's like
He always has that.
I know, but the thing is, like, I think sometimes she's a little bit more like when her hair is down, you know, that something's about to go down. You know, she's about to, about to turn someone into something. But you know, this whole updo thing, I'm like, yeah. When I'm working, my hair is always kind of updo, so I'm like, yeah. Girlfriend gets it.
So do you barge into someone's office and say that, well? And then someone come running behind you and say, we tried to stop Fariha. And Fariha said, you tried to stop me?
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh
so
my
the thing is that the very similar conversation actually once happened, because like, I tried to tell her not to come. Like, you did what? You didn't know such thing.
Yeah.
You are Emma Frost. Oh my God. I just realized.
You didn't know that?
I knew, I didn't know it.
But the thing is like, and then going forward with that, the cats are back, which I was very happy with, because they're from Kelly Thompson's Mr. and Mrs. X and Rogue and Gambit run. So that's good. And then, I don't have anything more to say.
Well, the other thing is, coming off of that data page, which is quite, really clearly got our interest, but then it doesn't go anywhere. Like they're having, I mean, it kind of does, because they're having an argument about Betsy, who is or is not Captain Britain, which would allow them to respond to the letter. But it kind of feels like that just stopped. And maybe that's part of what really hurt me energy-wise in this issue, is that I kind of got ramped up a little bit by the letter. And then it just seems like it turned so hard to this other thing. And it kind of like lost its momentum with me. We get some fun guest stars, right? We get Emma, we get Rachel. Rachel, interestingly, is connected through Psylocke through Excalibur, but she never was on the X-Men team originally at the same time as Psylocke. She left the issue before Psylocke arrived. So unlike Rogue, who has this backstory with Psylocke, Rachel doesn't, at least not from that Claremontian period.
But then it also connects to X Factor, where Rachel was. Like, she was here the whole time when Polaris was telling everyone that, we're going to be working with Rachel. Remember?
Oh, you're talking about the last issue of X Factor where Rachel's like, she's in Excalibur.
Yeah, like she just comes back. Like, so right after this, she comes back, and then in the boneyard, we are now having like, at the same time, while they're having their dinner in the boneyard, she's de-escalate, like, she's taking care of Polaris, and then what's his name? North Star now ran off to save Dakan. So if you think about it from that point of view, it's actually pretty cool. And I actually learned that from you guys. So
and I love Rachel. She's one of my favorite characters. So like this idea that she's so important that we actually have to figure out her book-to-book continuity right now, it makes me really excited.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And I also like that, even like when Teeny, like little baby Maggie is kind of like creepy, but she's like very British. She doesn't say I'm angry, so I'm cross. That is so British to me.
I don't know. Send her through the gate with Apocalypse to his timeshare. I don't want to see her anymore. She freaks me out.
What's wrong?
She freaks him out.
I don't trust her.
You don't like talking babies? You don't like talking babies?
Don't like this one. I don't. She's like a talking toddler. I don't know. She's like a small human with big ears, and I don't know.
And then also like as much as I kind of hate Brian the human, I kind of like his costume though.
The
It's a
costume
good
is
costume.
good. It's
a
really
good
good.
costume.
Damn it!
Okay.
I was like, that's a
I
really
really like
good
it too.
costume.
There's a-
ah.
There's a good joke in this is when Gambit's talking to Jamie, and Jamie's like, "Don't talk to me about cloning, Betsy. I didn't do it. I told you I wouldn't, so don't ask." And Gambit's like, "Fine." He's like, "All right, but if I did clone her, do you want to see it?" That was a pretty good joke. That was
And
funny.
then also Burger King, because it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to that Burger King. And next, pretty much the next panel, he's sitting there with the Burger King.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That was a pretty good.
Well, and
Peter.
also, I mean, Jamie, Teeny Howard definitely is a gift for Jamie. Jamie, who's usually used just to kind of be a foil, he's actually developing his own very comedic voice. And the thing that really made me laugh was, I didn't just do it for myself. No reality hijinks. It's just an empty body. I did it the old-fashioned way. Meaning what exactly, right? Like, in that moment, you're like, you made your sister how the old-fashioned way?
What do you mean?
Well, to me, I thought it to more like, he went to Sinister and got the body versus the new way is the egg. The new way is the egg.
Right. That's the joke,
like
that he did it. He did it through cloning and reality manipulation, and he didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do it the other way. But the thing is, so the lady that he has is Morgan Le Fay,
I
right?
think.
Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah, it's still Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah.
Kicking around from
It's
that
not
first
him.
arc we all forgot.
Yeah,
It's Apocalypse.
No, but is she conscious? I don't like that. That's what
She
I'm
looks-
saying.
Yeah.
She looks pretty conscious.
I
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
that. I absolutely hate that. Like, gross. Ugh. Like, no. Throw someone in a prison and throw the keys away, but don't do that. Like,
But she's
ew,
like,
gross.
she's pretty powerful magic person.
Yeah, she can't be allowed to move or speak. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's gonna do her.
But then put
magic.
her in the deep. I don't know. It just like this, and then all
No,
the whole dress
it's
up and
fair.
everything. Like with
It's
the
gross.
web, like it's just gross.
Just
That's
send
gross.
her to Merlin's realm. As Gambit mentioned, like she's technically not the enemy of Krakoa in a sense. She's only angry because Apocalypse invaded Avalon. So to Gambit's point is like, so there's no reason, and she's not a mutant, so they could. I mean,
Yeah, they have
she
like
could
no
be-
jurisdiction almost.
Yeah, she could not
Yeah.
be judged on Krakoan law. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So now we come to our final corner of plot. Richter and his new magic lineage as we progress. I'm sorry. If I keep talking, I'm just going to say nasty things. Somebody else
Say
has to
it!
talk about
Say
it.
it!
No, I
Say
don't want.
it!
I'm not inviting people to like watch this just to like.
No.
They might
Well,
like the issue, and I'm not here to just tear it down. I think it's
Yeah.
a stupid plot. I just think it's dumb. I think it's.
I keep- I
No,
keep reading this plot thinking that like, oh, eventually someone's going to be like, "Hey, Richter, you sound ridiculous and weird. What's up with that?" But it just never happens. They just keep like taking it at face value. And I'm like, it's been a lot of issues of this.
No,
I don't know.
I agree to that actually, because the relationship between Apocalypse and Richter was never developed in this book.
Right.
We did see the scene where Apocalypse rescued Richter because for some reason Richter couldn't control his powers, and then we sort of like skip forward to the fact that Richter is now a druid, and that kind of thing. So that's the part which is which I 100% agree with Peter. This is the most unbelievable part of Excalibur, because Richter suddenly being able to do mutant magic is kind of weird to me as well.
So as an X Factor stan, I always keep on, every time I see Richter, all I keep on saying that, Richter, where's Shatterstar?
Yeah. Where's Shatterstar?
I
He's
like
in
the
Mojoverse.
I know.
He's stuck in Mojoverse, and he never even asked about him. Never even talk about him. That's
Well,
his
they were kind of on
boyfriend, right?
the outs after Shatterstar's last miniseries, right? Like they're not super
Yeah.
together.
I think he
right now.
explained that they were on the outs.
Yeah,
Right.
and then
you're talking about the landlord Shatterstar, right?
Yeah, so the landlord, but the thing is, like, so he doesn't have any more feelings towards him, like nothing.
Well,
I don't know.
He's got feelings for Apocalypse. Like Tower, I think you were right.
Don't say that.
Not like that. No, like, but there is like an interesting, like, kind of like codependency thing, or like loyalty he has to Apocalypse because he was in this depressed place. I thought that was interesting to start off with in this book, but it never really feels like it earns that. It just kind of keeps moving, gets deep into this magic thing, and yeah, it's not really what I was hoping.
Well, I mean, it is also hinted at here, because, or at least the way I read it, because Richter was saying that I didn't expect to be here for it. So it's sort of, I mean, I mean, is he saying that he was suicidal before, that he's going to kill himself, or?
But that's kind of a throwback to X Factor, because when he
right, that was how we re-met him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But then at that time he lost his power. So and it was right after House of M.
That's
so
true. That's true.
Now he's like, so is it his character traits to be like that all the time? Because that's a weird character trait.
But here's the thing. I think this is all potentially really interesting, right? There's a really interesting thread about the idea that Richter thought he was suicidal because his powers gave him meaning and he lost his powers, but he got back his powers. He was out. He had somebody he loved. And then here he is again. His powers are somewhat out of control at the beginning of X Factor. And if you're going to play that plot of like, it turns out it wasn't just the loss of my powers that was making me feel that way, that's a great plot. And that's good development for him. But where is it? Like, I think that there's this thing that's I like that mutants have magic. I'm not against it. And I love this implication that Richter's special because his mutant power connects him to the earth, and that there's an intrinsic power of the earth that's connected to mutants vis-a-vis Krakoa, and that makes him special in the same way that like Doug is special because Doug can talk to Krakoa. But I feel like I'm being asked to do a lot of work in between panels and in between issues to make all of these connections about if he is depressed, about his relationship to his powers, about if he feels special now. I need it to happen on the page. I think some of the other things we've talked about, like we've also been discussing Sword this week, and we talked about how much Ewing gets us to bring to the story by not telling us everything on the page. He invites us in. But I feel like Excalibur is like insisting that I go and make up this whole plot universe on my own because it won't actually show me anything. Is it just me? Like sometimes I get like this where I'm like, tell me explicitly or I'm not going to give you any credit. I'm willing to accept it's me, but this is I'm trying to get underneath why I don't like it. I don't ever want to just come on here and be like, the issue is bad. Like
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. It's not on the page. It doesn't feel earned. That's all.
So, but the thing is, we spend so much time on these other characters who were becoming other Captain Britons and all of that. So I think like this would have all been solved if there was a couple of issues that was focused on Richter the same way we had the Sword issue this week and the X-Force issue this week. Like if we had that, that problem would have been solved.
Right. And not just Richter, like, I guess I'm a druid now, but like Richter, like have Richter talk to Jamie Madrox, have Richter turn on a streaming device and look at Shatterstar in the Mojoverse. Like remind us of who Richter is for like a second. You know?
And also,
what? Did I say something super terrible?
No, I mean you just made me so sad.
But see, I did that. I don't like to be like, say like, I'm smarter than the creator. They should write this book. I'm just saying these are the types of things which are missing. And look, Fariha got sad just by me saying it, right?
Yeah.
You're just saying, make us sad, Teeny Howard. Make Fariha cry. Do it.
Yeah,
just want to feel.
I just want to feel something because I don't feel in real life. So, but that's what I'm saying, because I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for him to say something about Shatterstar. I understand that they have broken up, but there was something so meaningful between them. I just want him to for once say the word Shatterstar. I want him to say that word, and that the just turning on Mojoverse and then seeing it, or even talking,
and then turning right back off. Yeah,
and then
or something like that. Some connection to something is what we're asking.
And then he's just now and so is Apocalypse supposed to be the magic person of mutants?
I don't know. What did he get from Apocalypse here? Yet another book? Like
Another tomb of scrolls.
And everything in his lab, I guess. But the other thing I kind of
Good.
sort of want to talk about, I mean, not talk about, sort of want to point out is like, why is Rogue questioning the mutant machine? She knew about the 5. Like,
Yeah.
And
I
Rogue
don't
like
understand
is
that
a
part.
mutant machine in
Yeah.
a box. Like that's
Yeah.
whole Rogue's
I mean,
whole jam.
she basically could absorb the 5 and become the 5 herself. You know, like, and that's the thing. So I was wondering why is like she's like, oh, that we are able to join up our mutant powers in Covenant and all. I was like, isn't that what is happening on Krakoa right now? Why are you questioning that?
Yeah.
So that was a bit weird for me.
And also, Marcus Toe, put a belt on that uniform. It does not look as cool if you don't break it up. Like the leather jacket's not enough because you lose her shape at the waist. It needs a sash or like a belt. There's a reason so many of these female characters in these swimsuity, skin-hugging costumes have something around their midsection. It doesn't look right.
Richter has it. Richter has belts. I'm just looking at it.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to put my finger on like some of the things that really bug me, and Rogue costume doesn't look great for me. All right, final scene, and let's get out of here. We have mean Betsy dressed in the Captain Britain uniform. She's lured them, and she's trying to stab everybody in the head with her psychic knife. But onto the scene bursts Quanon, hot off of Hellions, I guess after they escaped their situation that they got into last week.
Yeah, probably.
And so we're finally going to get a proper Betsy and Quanon showdown, except for not really, because we don't know that this is really Betsy. So in a way, it's a lot like the showdown we got last issue, which I did like, let's be fair, where, you know, we got Betsy confronting Quanon, but it was a different Quanon. Now we're going to Quanon confronting Betsy, maybe a different Betsy. That's potentially interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In theory.
Yes, but the thing is, I was also asking the question, like, wait, where did you come from? Like, you know, because I was also tracking Quanon's, you know, like, you know, connection, like, you know, like where she has been, and I'm like, no, this is wrong. And I was thinking that maybe this is an editorial thing. This is supposed to be someone else.
No, but
maybe that too.
But the thing is, the publishing schedule is all out of whack because of the hiatus, you know, in March, you know. So things.
And then some of the things got X of Swords issues inserted. Like it's probably Hellions was maybe supposed to be farther at this point when you know we don't know. I mean, there's just no way to know.
Okay.
So that's the problem, I think. So which is why I believe like for example, I believe most of these issues happen before King in Black, except for Sword.
Yeah,
so Sword actually happens after, whereas everything here all happens before it. So
that's fine.
Yeah. So it's a little bit weird. Yeah.
Does anybody have any final encouraging words to our viewers and listeners about X Factor 18?
I hope you liked it more than we did. I really.
Well, I like it. It's just that my parting word is not encouraging because they got the Krakoan alphabet wrong again in the next.
Why? What is it? What do you think it's trying to say?
It's trying to say Psylocke, but instead of the S, they use the ST, so it become a Stylock or something like that.
Stylock, yeah, Stylock.
Yeah, PST.
Fair character.
Yeah. So I was like, oh no.
Of course, that's how this ends, with a typo.
Well, folks,
of course.
That is our discussion of Excalibur 18. They can't all be winners. And, you know, we get together because a lot of times one of us, we, you know, as people do, have our chat that we're in the rest of the week. And when one of us doesn't like the issue, we're like, I didn't like this one, because we're kind of like hoping somebody else really liked it. And most of the time we pull each other out of that funk because why, Fariha?
Because X-Men is better when it's read together.
That's right. So even if this one did not land for us, it was still a heck of a lot more fun to talk about it with each other than it was to read by ourselves. And usually after we do that, we come out liking something, even if this week that was not the case. So we hope that you found some things to like about it, or at least thought our vehement feelings about it were amusing. And we look forward to talking to you more about this week in X. There's other X issues out this week. There are other videos on the channel, so please go and check them out. And we'll see you next week for even more, because that's what we do. We do this every week. So thank you so much on behalf of Fariha, Tyler, Harry, and myself. We really appreciate you being a viewer here, and we wish you well.